Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about how to attract, engage, and retain clients to your veterinary hospital using digital marketing. My name is Brandon Brashears, and in today's episode, number 237, we're going to be talking about the current state of digital marketing. We're going to be talking about what's working, what's not, and some of the most important trends for your hospital. It's been a long time since I've done a general strategy episode. This episode, I think, is going to have a long lifespan as far as being useful and giving you utility. But I do think it's going to provide a tremendous amount of value and hopefully help you to really create a strategy that's going to meet your goals for your veterinary hospital. Before we begin, I want to mention a few things. First, if you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you could do me a huge favor, please leave me an honest review in Spotify because they just added reviews recently. So it's helpful to have other people be able to find the podcast and also get benefit from it. So I appreciate you for doing that. The next thing is, if you're not a member of the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group, head on over there. It's a great place to get help, ask questions. I also post a bunch of trainings. Speaking of which, if you're interested, I'm going to be ramping up both my free trainings and the premium trainings that I do. If you're currently an ads client, premium trainings are included. But if you're interested in getting additional trainings and hands-on seeing computer screen sharing and all that good stuff, you can head on over to veterinarymarketingpodcast.com/training, where you'll get an email that will help you to be notified every time we have a training coming out. All right, let's get into today's episode. So the current state of digital marketing. It's been a while since we've done an episode about this in particular, and a lot has changed. I think the biggest things that I see that are changes are typically within content and within how content is shared, how content is created, and how content is distributed. When we look at digital marketing in general, I think content as a pillar and driving client generation and driving people to your site is still really, really important. The thing that I see, I think, is the biggest change and biggest difference is in how people engage with it. This has come about, I think, primarily because of platforms like TikTok, and I'll explain what I mean. But you probably have noticed, or maybe you haven't noticed, that there hasn't really been too many major kind of drop off the cliff algorithm changes when it comes to platforms, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's SEO, YouTube. All of these platforms have been pretty darn stable now for about the past 3 years. I think the biggest change was back in 2019 when Facebook stopped the organic distribution almost completely of business pages. I think organic distribution has come back a little bit, but really what these platforms, in my opinion, have done is created algorithms that really do a good job of serving relevant content to the audiences. And I think this is the biggest change and shift that has happened, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, doesn't matter. But the content that people see and engage, and if you think about platform kind of how you use platforms, it's probably a lot less on Facebook, a lot more on Instagram and TikTok. But people are engaging more with content and less with friends and family. And in my opinion, I think social media is going more towards basically bucketing people into these sub-niches and subcategories and less towards social engagement with people that you actually know. And obviously there's going to be definitely, that's not 100% of the rule. Facebook is still very much driven by who you know and your connections, Twitter and LinkedIn and all of these things. But if you think about and go into Facebook or Instagram and look at the content that you're seeing, you're going to have sprinkled in content that is basically topically related to things that you're interested in. Anything that's getting organic distribution now is going to be serving a niche. And this is really, really important. So when you're looking at and engaging with content, you have to think about how, number one, people are consuming content, the kinds of content that they are engaging with and that they like, and then how can you use those patterns to create content that will then attract the right niches. And I think TikTok is the biggest and best example of this. So if you're not on TikTok, I really suggest getting on there and trying it out. It's definitely addictive, and it's created in a way that lets you consume content. And their algorithm is incredible. So everybody kind of starts off in really general buckets, and then they refine what you want to see based on what it is that you're watching. The thing about TikTok is that when you sign up for TikTok, it's not a place to go and find friends and family. So this does two different things. This does, number one, creates a situation where people are a lot more comfortable to share content that they're truly interested in, and that they're less reserved, in my opinion, because they don't think that their friends and family are going to be seeing the content, because they feel kind of like anonymous in some senses, right? Where it's less of a direct social network, but more of a community network. And I think a lot of platforms saw this and really are starting to implement it, especially with Instagram and Reels and things. But if you look at how people create content, they're creating content for their kind of tiny micro tribes. Whether you're following dog content, specific breed dog content, farm content, like you can get into these really weird subcategories. Like, for example, I'm on Lord of the Rings TikTok, farm life TikTok, construction life TikTok, different weird sub-niches that I would have never thought I would be in, but I'm very interested in them. And the thing about this is that kind of content lends itself to be consumed more, right? If you're seeing content that you find interesting rather than content about people from high school sharing about their family, like on Facebook, for example, then it's going to be more engaging and you're going to spend more time there. So one of the most important takeaways is when you're creating content, you really need to niche down. Trying to create content that's general and boring is not going to cut it in the future. And if you're not getting organic distribution on your content, whether it's blog posts, emails, any kind of post on social, if it's not hitting like you want it to, that means that you are not niching down and you're not making this for a specific group of people. And so you need to really refocus and figure out who your key demographics are that you're going to be targeting and test and work to serve them. Because in the future, it's just going to get more and more important that you know how to reach these target niche audiences. And when I talk about organic content, I think that there's going to be a ton of overlap in how organic content is distributed and how paid content is distributed. Let me explain what I mean by that. So recently, Google has released what are called Performance Max campaigns, and they've been pushing these very, very hard. They're very excited about them. They say that they're the future, and basically they use machine learning models to distribute content and ads out into places where they'll think that they can get conversions. So number one, I think all ad platforms are moving more towards this, which is going to be more reliant upon data hygiene. And what I mean by that is that these platforms, they have less specific controls of where you can put ads, what you can show up for. What they do is they build a model around the conversions that you have coming in. And basically it says, okay, I have these people coming in. We want to get more of these types of conversions. And so Google figures out similarities between them and goes out and finds you more. And since they have so many ad placements, they can typically get it done for cheaper. Now, this is great in theory, right? You're going to set up a campaign, it's going to run automatically, and it's going to bring you clients. But the problem with this is that Google doesn't know the difference between a dog owner and a hamster owner, right? If somebody's looking for vets or exotic vet or emergency vet, Google doesn't have that level of distinction yet down. Maybe at some point they'll have it, and maybe it'll be improved, but they don't have that yet. But when it comes to organic content distribution, we can look at their algorithms and their models, and we can see very quickly that they're able to suggest content that's highly relevant to us. They're able to suggest content that really, really speaks to our current situation, whatever it is we're doing. Like if you go to YouTube and if you watch YouTube videos for a while, the homepage that they show you on suggested videos is going to be really, really relevant in terms of what you're currently doing in your life, what you're interested in, and it's amazing at how much they know. So if you think about, they can take YouTube as a product and organically show you content that's going to be relevant. They can take those same algorithms and put them to these new, more automated placements. And so it makes sense that if you can target from a content standpoint organically and get organic distribution, you're going to be a lot more successful when it comes to paid traffic. And again, I mentioned data hygiene. What does that mean? Moving forward, data hygiene is very, very important. In the post iOS 14 update world, which iOS 14 update happened, I want to say 2 years ago now. So we've been out of this tracking situation. iOS 14 updated, not allowing Facebook to track conversions like they used to. We've been losing tons and tons of data on ad platforms, whether it comes to interest targeting, interest-based targeting, conversion data, targeting people more likely to convert, these different kinds of audiences and things. It's been a real nightmare for ad companies in general. So all that being said, it's, I think, more important than ever that you're able to tell these platforms who is actually converting. And the way that you do that is going to be through either third-party tracking, doing customer matching, which is uploading your customer data into these platforms, or you have conversion tracking set up in a way that uses first-party pixels, not third-party pixels, so that you can actually give the platforms conversion data. I know this sounds a little bit complicated, but basically when it comes to advertising, we need to be really specific on who it is that we're targeting. We need to make sure that we are giving these platforms good conversion data so that they can find more of these audiences that are similar to the ones that are converting right now. And that's really, really what it comes down to. And on top of that, you're going to have all of your offers and your content and things that you want to get posted out there. But in my opinion, the bottom line is you need to be really good at measuring conversions, and that's something that needs to be a top priority when it comes to marketing. And then also you need to be really good at understanding different niches, how they are viewed by the different platforms, and tailor your strategy around targeting those niches of people that you're trying to reach. Because if you can figure out how to find, pet owners, not in general, but like dog owners and cat owners and senior dogs and puppies, people who have new puppies, right? These sub niches within niches, you're going to be a lot more successful. I think the overlap between ads and organic is really starting to converge. And so the better you are at reaching people organically, I think the better you will be at reaching people with paid ads. I mentioned that you haven't heard a lot about algorithm updates. I think the same has been true with SEO. There hasn't been any huge shifts. I think the algorithms are constantly updating on their own with machine learning so that it is constantly evolving. And if you have proper structural SEO and you have proper Google My Business and you're doing outreach and content, I think you're going to be, really better off than if you didn't. But you're not going to see the major shifts with traffic where one day you lose 90% of your traffic because they update, Hummingbird or something. I think the days of that is gone. So you need to make sure that you are able to communicate what your site's about, and really focus on, there's going to be some, I think, nitty-gritty details, especially within your Google My Business, that's going to really, really affect how your business is seen by Google from the organic standpoint. Definitely going to be doing episodes here in the near future, kind of breaking down all of these things. And I think this is hopefully a good high-level overview. The bottom line here really is that if you want to be successful, you need to be able to communicate with niche audiences and create content that's going to be compelling and valuable to these niche audiences so that you can get organic distribution. And a good place to test that out and try that out is TikTok. I think that the reason that that's good to try it out and test it out is because, number one, it's easy to create content there. You don't have to have a high level of production. It's easy to jump on trends and see what's happening. And if it doesn't work out, you can delete it quickly. So that would be my suggestion. Really become a student of the platforms, see what's working, see what's popular, see what's getting lots of engagement, comments, and say to yourself, okay, what is the reason that this is doing so well, and what audience is this serving? Now, again, you're going to think to yourself, I need to go more general and more broad, but that is not the way the internet is going. You need to get more sub-niche down, figure out your maybe 3 to 5 niches that you really want to target when it comes to content. And we'll definitely do more episodes here in the future on content strategies. I've been testing a lot of stuff from the organic standpoint because I feel like the overlap between paid and organic is just getting more and more. And so in the future, hopefully I'll be able to continue to grow my assets that I have, digital assets, when it comes to organic traffic, and share those insights with you. But recently, one of the projects that I've been working on is launching a YouTube channel where I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. And I think YouTube is one of the most valuable platforms out there, most underused, and probably the most difficult to do. So if I can get to that on YouTube, I think that will be a good sign that I know what I'm doing and things. I'm almost at 500 subscribers right now over the past 3 months, which I think is a pretty good number. And I'll be sharing a lot of the insights that I've been finding on that moving forward here. So be sure to subscribe. We got a lot of really good content in here. If you have any questions, comments, or need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.